Hello and welcome to the second lecture in the lecture series on microeconomics. So I hope you guys remember that in the previous lecture I dealt with certain economic concepts which are very important as far as microeconomics is concerned. That was factors of production as well as factor payments. Now again I will touch on what microeconomics is dealing with and then introduce you to some important concept which is called as constraint optimization, or a series of constraint optimization, and something called as opportunity cost. So whenever you look at microeconomics is doing what? It is dealing with economic agents at an individual level, at an individual level. So these economic agents, as we have seen in the previous class, are either firms or households or individuals. Now given the scarcity of resources to meet certain ends, these scarce resources also have something called as alternative uses. I did not introduce you to the term alternative uses in the definition of, I had written it, but I did not introduce it to you in the explanation because I wanted to introduce these two important concepts in the next lecture. So now, given that these scarce resources are used to meet certain ends, these scarce resources also have alternative uses. Now let us take an example of land. Land is a scarce resource, that is, it is limited. It is limited. It cannot be increased with anything. So what this piece of land has is different uses. Either it can be used for agriculture, or it can be used as a football field, or maybe used to make apartments, or to make roads or highways, whatever you call it. Roads or highways, there are different alternative uses of scarce resource which is land. So now I have to make sure that I take under the constraint here that the size of the land or area of the land is limited. I have to take series of decisions to make sure that I do optimum use of that particular resource which is available with me. So now microeconomics will help me to do something called as constraint optimization. It will help me to use this piece of land very efficiently and very effectively. Whether I will be using it for agriculture or for apartment or for football field or for highways and building roads will be reached at the aim will be reached at using microeconomic analysis. Now given the fact that the resources are scarce and they also have alternative uses, as we have seen in the case of land, I have to introduce you to something called as opportunity cost. Now this opportunity cost is the opportunity lost, or it is the cost of the best next alternative foregone. Now let us take similar example of land. It is what? The opportunity lost, or the cost associated with the next best alternative foregone. Now this land can be used for, let us say, two different purposes: agriculture and to make it as football field. With agriculture I earn 10,000. With football field I earn rupees 15,000. So opportunity cost is, I have to make sure I make a decision with limited land, which is a scarce resource, also has alternative uses. Opportunity cost is, if at all I use this land for agriculture, I will be losing 15 grand, because if at all I employ this piece of land for agriculture, I will be earning 10,000 rupees, 10 grand. If at all I use for football field, I earn 15 grand. So what I am doing is I am losing the opportunity. It is the opportunity lost. The opportunity lost, or it is the cost associated with the next best alternative foregone. I am not doing this and I am doing this. By doing so, I am giving up the next best alternative, which is I could have earned 15,000, but now effectively what I will be earning is 10,000 rupees. So I hope these two concepts, one is called as constraint optimization, or a series of decisions given the scarcity of resource which has alternative uses. This can be achieved with the help of microeconomics. And the next is microeconomics will also help me understand or look at something called as opportunity cost. What will be the cost which I will have to forego, or which I will have to incur or lose if at all I make this decision and not this decision, which was the best possible decision. So who will help me deciding that? Microeconomic analysis will help me doing that. So I hope these two important concepts are pretty much clear. My purpose of not introducing you to alternative uses was this. Now you know that economics is dealing with human behavior, wherein you have scarce resources which have alternative uses, which have alternative uses to meet certain ends. These ends are either the production decisions or the consumption decisions. Now when you are introduced with the basic comprehensive sense of what economics is and what micro and macroeconomics are doing, now let us come to something called as the basic economic problems. The basic economic problems any country or any economy in the world will be facing. These are what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and the last is fuller utilization of the available resources. Now let me take you to something called as what to produce. Now, given the resources are scarce, they have alternative uses, every country in the in the world economy has to make sure that it decide upon what goods as well as services, and or the combination is up to the country to decide, but what to produce, what kind of goods to produce, what kind of services to produce. So this is a basic economic problem which any country in the world economy has to face. What type of goods and services it should be producing. The next is something very important, but before that I will just give you a sense of something called as factor scarcity and factor abundance. We can understand factor scarcity and factor abundance with the help of two country example. Let us take one as United States of America and the other as India. This is the example to understand something called as factor scarcity and abundance. Now I hope you guys will agree with me that US has both labor as well as capital. Now in economics, capital is denoted by K. Capital is denoted by K. Vis-a-vis, even India has labor and capital. Even India has labor and capital. Now what factor abundance and factor scarcity means is, if at all I want to operate in USA, I have to look at the relative availability of the two factors. Relative availability I am talking about. So now when we know that if at all we are in USA, capital is an abundant factor, whereas labor is a scarce factor. Vis-a-vis, when you look at India, labor is a abundant factor as well as capital a scarce factor. Now how to produce, which means whether I will be using labor or capital, for that I have introduced you to. How to produce means the technique of production, whether it will be labor intensive or it will be capital intensive. Now this intensive labor intensivity and capital intensity depends upon. Okay, so now we know that US and India are vis-a-vis labor and capital. We have seen that US has scarcity of labor, whereas US has abundance in capital, vis-a-vis India, which is abundant in labor and scarce in capital. We have to look at something called as, so I hope factor scarcity and abundance is pretty much clear. We have to look at what will be the technique which they will be using to produce certain commodities. So if at all I want to operate in India, I will be using labor intensive techniques. When I will be operating in the technique in, this is in India and this is in USA, the technique will be capital intensive. Intensive technique. So I hope this is pretty much clear. How to produce, what will be the underlying technique which I'll be using, whether it will be labor intensive or capital intensive. For that we have to understand something called as factor scarcity and factor abundance. So I hope the first problem, what to produce, what good or service to produce, then how to produce it, that is the underlying technique, which technique I'll be using to produce that. Then we move to something called as whom to produce, what is my target audience, yeah, whether it is national level, whether it is international level, whether it is regional level, yeah, what is the thing, yeah. So for whom to produce the goods and services, so I should have certain target population in my mind before deciding that, yeah, before deciding the production of the commodity per se, yeah. So this is for whom to produce. And then last, which is very important, you will find these three basic economic problems in any standard economics textbook in India or abroad, but this one is very important, which is fuller utilization of the resources. Now we know that the resources are scarce, first of all, they also have alternative uses, then we have to make sure that we are using the available resources to the fullest, yeah, to the fullest. For example, labor can work 10 hours per day, yeah, I'm talking about 10 hours per day, so 10 hours per day. If at all that labor is not working 10 hours per day, or whatever the magic figure, yeah, in India it is 8 hours to be very precise. So if at all he or she is not working 10 hours a day, that means you are not using your labor to the fullest, yeah, to the fullest, you are not using your labor to the fullest. That means somewhere down the line this will affect something called as your production or output. So that is why you have to make sure that there is fuller utilization of resources. Why? Because this labor is scarce and it also has alternative uses. Now here I have taken an example for labor, yeah, I could have taken an example for land or capital. Let us take an example for capital, yeah. This capital can be used for, say, production of vehicles, as well as this could have been used for production of flats or houses, yeah, houses or something else. So you have to make sure that whatever available capital you have to use that capital to the fullest. If at all you have, say, rupees 1000 or you have 10 machines, you have to make sure that you are using the available capital to the fullest. Otherwise then there is no use of that scarce resources to produce certain goods and services, yeah. So this is what I wanted to give you a hang of in this class. So whenever we meet next, I will introduce you to something called as the use of equations, the use of functions, the use of graphs in economic analysis, and then we move to the consumer theory. So thank you so much.